Hey guys, welcome back to Beer Geek Nation. I'm your host Chris. Thanks for joining me once again for another beer review. Tonight we're doing something a little bit special. A beer that just came out and is basically gone off store shelves already. So if you didn't get yourself one, you're probably going to have to trade for it because it was very, very limited quantities on this one. And of course, I'm talking about Founders 2010 Nemesis. It is their barley wine. Last year, the 2009 Nemesis was a wheat wine, and I gotta read the label on this one. It's just a freaking badass label. It says, "Every batch diabolically brewed to decimate ordinary, average, run-of-the-mill tasting beers." And then on the top it says, "It's the anti-establishment ale." That's pretty badass. Comes at a 12%, 100 IBUs, so it's a gigantic beer. Yeah. So with that said, let me get into a glass, let you know how it smells, how it tastes, and give you the verdict on what I hope is an epic beer. This is Founders Nemesis 2010. Alright, so the appearance on the Nemesis. As you can see, it's kind of surprising. It's like a deep dark Coca-Cola kind of color. A nice like light brown head. It looks like a stout to me. It looks like an imperial stout almost. You can't see anything through it. There are some really kind of dark red, blood red kind of notes in there when you do hold it up to light. A lot of carbonation in this one. For being 12%, I wasn't expecting a whole lot, but there's a decent amount in there. Lots of good lacing. It's a really, really interesting beer. It's more along the lines of like a black barley wine. It's what's this 30th anniversary that Sierra Nevada just came out, their barley wine. It's very similar looking to this. Wow. It smells like a Belgian quadruple with more hop characters and more alcohol to it. There's a lot of really deep, dark notes in this one. Deep, dark fruits, plums, a lot of raisin. Yeah, and there's some smokiness in there. There's some roasted malt characters in there. A lot of really, really deep, dark sugar kind of aroma, caramels and burnt sugar. Yeah, there's some booziness in there. Definitely some booziness. Just everything kind of blends together to make this really kind of, I want to use hardcore, like a hardcore smelling barley wine. It's really kind of extreme. You get these really kind of weird flavors that are really coming together to create a really kind of this really, really big smelling beer. This is what a beer at 12% 100 IBUs is going to smell like, and there's no doubt about it. Wow, that is interesting. It's strange. First kind of flavor that really jumps out at me is chocolate. Then the second one is kind of like a smokiness, like a roasted malt. You can taste a lot of the malt in this one. Definitely a lot of chocolate in there. And then the booziness kind of comes in. This one's definitely a boozy beer. Really, really, you can feel it burning in the throat, and your mouth kind of fills it out. There's some bitterness, some hop bitterness right in the front there. A good amount of carbonation to kind of keep everything moving. But this one has a lot of malt in it. It's these really deep, dark, roasted notes, and like I said, caramel and kind of burnt sugar. The mouthfeel is just incredible. It just fills your mouth and just keeps kind of kicking in there. Yeah, there's really deep dark chocolate notes. There's deep dark roasted smoky notes mixed with this kind of weird juxtaposition of like a pine needly citrus flavor from the hops, and there's burnt sugar and caramel notes in there mixed with that smokiness. Just really, it's a really complex beer. This is definitely a beer that I'm going to let my other bottles definitely going to age. I'd be really curious to see how this one comes out. I think the booziness is going to go way down, and some of the more of the malt character is going to come out of this one. It's going to make a really kind of blended, really nice beer. It tastes a lot like scotch, like a really, really deep, dark scotch. That's what it reminds me of, but it's just an excellent, excellent tasting beer. Alright, so the end of the day, what is the final verdict on Founders 2010 Nemesis coming in at 12%, 100 IBUs? I'm going to give this one an A. It is easily one of the most complex, interesting beers I've ever tasted, and to be honest with you, it's like no other barley wine I've tasted. Then the booziness just kind of makes everything kind of mellow out, and I know that sounds kind of strange, but it works in a really weird way. The carbonation really helps to get the flavor into the mouth. It's not an easy drinking beer. It's definitely a sipping beer, but at 12%, they kind of warn you with that. Just a great beer. I highly recommend it. Yeah, basically another hit for Founders. Definitely a great beer. I'm going to give this one an A. And remember, my friends, life's too short. What do you got to do? Come on, drink amazing beers. Please, please. Cheers, guys.